I was always made to feel very insecure about my stutter. People made me feel insecure about my stutter. And then I started doing stand-up. I started going to speech therapy. I had some success with both. And now people will point out when I don't stutter. So I get insecure about that. So I don't really know when to do it. You guys just pick a fucking time and I will... And you see, I love this job. I love that this is my job, but it is frustrating. Because if you meet somebody out on the street who has a speech impediment and they make a joke about it, you're like, oh, that's very self-aware. But the difference with mine is sometimes people will think it's a gimmick or it's an act. And I think that's because I make jokes about it on a stage. It's just because location is everything, baby. Right? Like if you see someone in a wheelchair at the bank, you're like, oh, that person's disabled. But you see someone in a wheelchair at Disneyland, you're like, that bitch is cutting. I was bullied when I was a kid because I was a fat kid and I studied theater and that's all you need. My bully, his name was Andrew, and every day Andrew saw me out in the neighborhood, he would call me a fat fag. He would go, "You're such a fat fag." Okay, I added that. I studied theater, so I tried. Shut up. But the fag thing, he said that to me every day. It was almost a visceral reaction. He'd be like, "Get out of here, you fat fag. You're such a fat fag." And one day, Andrew's older brother took his own mattress into the woods so he could film himself water rafting on it as an audition to get on the show Man vs. Wild. And this is true. His brother actually died doing that. Yes, it's very sad. For you guys hearing it. Because I remember that day. I remember it very, very, very vividly. Because the next day, I saw my bully, Andrew, out in the neighborhood. And there was a power shift. He looked in my eyes and he knew that I knew. I had heard the news. So I said to myself, do I now use this as an opportunity to take advantage of my bully when he was at his most vulnerable, the same way that he had done to me every single day? But instead, I just opted to take the high road. And I said to Andrew just what it was that I said to him every day. And I was like, hey man, hey, I'll suck your dick for a Snickers. We're in the 2020s now, and last year really had me thinking about where we are now versus where we were, say 100 years ago. 100 years ago, it was the 1920s. It was the Prohibition, and it was illegal to have alcohol in your bar. And to think, in 100 years, shit's gotten worse. 100 years ago, if you had alcohol in your bar, the cops, they would kick down the front door. Someone would yell, "Ha! It's the fuzz! Scatter!" Which is the best last call of all time. Imagine you're holding your martini and so someone comes in and yells, "Scatter?" It's like, oh shit, the fuzz. That's probably how the shot was invented. That's why I get irritated anytime I hear some college chick at a bar who's like, you guys want to do shots? It's like, Cassidy, you don't know the history. They used to do it to warm up their core, because they had to run. From the fuzz. Now, 100 years later, 2020s, you can't even have people in your bar. Can you imagine if the cops time traveled from 1920s? They kick open some door, some bar downtown. They'd have to say it themselves. We're the fuzz. And maybe 3 of you would look up from your phone. That's a sad day to have to report back to the chief of police. Chief! We busted the place on 6th. Yeah? Did they scatter? Well, they was already pretty scattered. It was like 6 feet. It was weirdly specific. Well, what were they doing? Well, they was all wearing masks, but they wasn't stealing nothing. Were they drinking alcohol? It's tough to say, Chief. It was seltzer in a can. Must have been a clinic for upset tummies. Well, then what happened? Well, then they got in separate getaway cars that they ordered from their hand radios. Separate getaway cars? Yeah, the cars were all different, but the drivers were all Persian. That is suspicious, Detective. You want to talk about suspicious, Chief? And then we saw a black fella standing outside the bar who was doing absolutely nothing illegal whatsoever. Ah, thank God. You arrested someone. Guys, it's a joke. Obviously they shot him. It's the cops. What do you think happened? It's the cops. No, just that guy. Thank you. Just one guy for the injustices of police brutality. That'll help.